Okay, let's dive right in. We're hearing about a massive shift happening in tech, almost like an earthquake, right?
hmm
Artificial intelligence is storming into software testing, and honestly, it feels like it could change everything.
It really does. And the big question everyone seems to be asking is, well, what does it mean for the humans involved?
Exactly. Are these AI algorithms going to make software testers obsolete? Like, is it a job killer?
Or is it the opposite? Could AI become this incredible assistant, a sort of ultimate wingman, helping testers do their jobs better than ever?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And that's what we're going to try and unravel today.
Absolutely. If you're out there building software, maybe you're a tester yourself, or maybe you're just, fascinated by where AI is going, this probably feels pretty relevant.
You might be wondering, are my skills still going to be valuable? Or can lines of code really beat human intuition when it comes to quality?
Right. So, our mission today really is to cut through the noise. We want to look at what's actually happening with AI in the testing trenches.
Yeah, we're not just speculating here. We've dug into expert opinions, looked at real-world data, all to figure out if AI is truly the end of an era for testers, or if it's actually the start of something new, something potentially much better.
Okay, maybe it helps to quickly paint the picture of, how things used to be done, or still are in many places. Traditional software testing.
Right. For ages, it was people, actual humans, clicking through applications, filling out forms.
Yeah.
That's the manual testing side.
Yep. Very hands-on. And then came automation, writing code, scripts to do the repetitive checks, making sure like the login still works after an update, that kind of thing.
Both super important, obviously.
Yeah.
But they have limitations, don't they? Especially now.
Oh, definitely. Today's software is, well, it's incredibly complex. So many features, integrations, running on phones, tablets, desktops,
Trying to keep up with just manual clicking or basic scripts,
Yeah.
it becomes a real bottleneck.
and everything needs to be faster.
Mhm.
Faster development, faster updates. That puts huge pressure on getting test feedback quickly.
Which is where AI, and especially this new ways of generative AI, comes crashing in.
Exactly. AI is good at crunching massive amounts of data, spotting patterns humans might miss, even predicting where problems might pop up.
And generative AI takes it further.
Yeah, it can actually create stuff. It can generate test case ideas, simulate user behavior, all based on the information it's learned. It's pretty powerful.
So that's the setup. Our deep dive today is all about this tension. Will AI push testers out, or will it become their indispensable sidekick?
Let's find out. It's definitely going to be an interesting journey.
Okay, let's tackle the big fear first. That initial wave of panic, right? AI gets smarter, testers lose their jobs.
Yeah, that was definitely the narrative for a while. Understandably so, I think. People worried that AI could eventually mimic those really subtle human skills, intuition, critical thinking, the things that make a great tester great.
The idea that a machine could really grasp what a user needs or spot those weird, unexpected edge cases that aren't written down anywhere, that seemed far-fetched, maybe even impossible to some.
Right. There was this concern that effective testing just needs a level of human understanding that AI couldn't possibly replicate.
The reality seems to be shaping up differently.
It really does. Based on what we're seeing now, it looks much less like a hostile takeover and much more like, well, like AI becoming a powerful assistant,
And
augmentation tool.
okay, an assistant. What does that mean in practice? What kind of tasks are we talking about AI taking over?
Think about the really repetitive, time-consuming stuff.
Hmm.
Regression testing is a prime example, making sure old features don't break when new code is added. AI is fantastic at automating that.
Hmm.
It can also be surprisingly good at generating basic test cases. It can look at the requirements, maybe even the code itself, and suggest tests.
So AI handles the more, let's say, predictable parts, freeing up the humans.
That's the idea. AI can help with intelligent test case generation, suggesting relevant scenarios. It can streamline managing test data, which can be a real pain. It can even help spot certain types of defects faster than a human might, especially after hours of testing.
But you're still saying the human is critical. Where does that unique human value still shine through?
Oh, absolutely crucial. Human testers bring empathy. They understand the user's perspective in a way AI currently struggles with. They can explore the software, go off script, that's exploratory testing, and find problems that no one anticipated.
Right, the what if I do this kind of testing.
Exactly. Ensuring a good user experience, making sure the software feels intuitive, that often relies on human judgment and critical thinking. AI can check boxes, but it often lacks that broader context to see the bigger picture or anticipate completely novel issues.
It's interesting, too, because as AI gets integrated into more products,
Yeah.
it actually creates new work for testers, doesn't it?
That's a really important point. The scope of testing is actually expanding because of AI. We're not just testing traditional websites or apps anymore. Now we also have to test the AI systems themselves.
Testing the AI, what does that involve? It sounds tricky.
It is. It brings new challenges. We need to check if the AI performs as expected, sure, but also, is it accurate? Is it fair? Does it have hidden biases? These aren't simple yes-no questions.
So it requires a different kind of testing expertise.
Absolutely. You need skills in understanding AI models, data quality, statistical analysis, ethics. It's a whole emerging field. Testers need to adapt and learn these new methodologies to ensure AI is developed and used responsibly.
Okay, so let's get more specific about how AI is changing the actual tasks of testing. You mentioned intelligent test case generation.
Right.
How does that work in practice?
It's pretty clever, actually. AI, especially Gen AI, can look at things like requirement documents, user stories, maybe even analyze the application's code, and then automatically suggest or even write potential test scenarios. It's like having a brainstorming partner that's read all the documentation instantly.
It sounds like a huge time saver. Are there tools doing this already?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We're seeing tools emerge, like WinWire has a Gen AI solution that can create test cases in different programming languages, trying to find those tricky edge cases.
Yeah.
Google's AI Studio lets you experiment with prompts to generate tests. Within Atlassian's world, there are tools for Jira that use Gen AI to write out test steps and preconditions. And platforms like Test Sigma use AI to analyze the app's data to create tests automatically.
So it's not just faster. It could actually lead to better testing, more coverage.
That's the goal. By suggesting scenarios a human might overlook, it can improve test coverage, and it frees up the human tester from that often tedious manual design work, letting them focus on more complex validation or exploratory testing.
You also brought up enhanced test automation. How's AI improving on traditional automation?
One of the biggest headaches with traditional automation is maintenance. The user interface changes slightly, and bang, your test script breaks.
Right, happens all the time.
Well, AI is bringing in this concept of self-healing tests. Tools like TestStem, for example, use AI to understand the intent of the test, not just the specific clicks. So if a button moves or changes slightly, the AI can often adapt the script automatically to keep it working.
That alone sounds revolutionary for maintenance effort. Anything else?
Yes, AI is also making test execution smarter. Instead of just running every single automated test every time, AI can analyze things which code changed recently, historical failure rates, business risk, and prioritize the most important tests to run first.
So faster feedback on the critical stuff.
Exactly. It leads to more efficient test runs, quicker feedback loops for developers, and generally more resilient and effective test suites with less manual upkeep.
And it's not just about checking if buttons work, is it? AI is moving into other areas like performance.
Definitely. For performance testing, AI can help simulate much more realistic user load patterns, and then it can analyze the mountains of performance data to spot subtle anomalies or potential bottlenecks that might be missed otherwise.
And security.
Similar story. AI algorithms can scan code for potential security flaws, identify vulnerabilities based on known patterns, and even assist humans during penetration testing by suggesting attack vectors.
Okay, and the last area you mentioned was visual testing, making sure things look right.
Right. This is where AI-powered computer vision comes in. Tools like Apple Tools can visually scan screenshots of an application across different browsers, devices, screen sizes, and automatically detect tiny visual bugs, misaligned elements, incorrect colors, overlapping text things that are really hard and tedious for humans to catch consistently. It ensures that polished user interface stays polished.
It's really clear AI is touching almost every part of testing. Let's zoom out a bit. What are the big players, the major consulting firms, saying about all this?
Yeah, firms like McKinsey, Deloitte, BCG, Accenture, they're all deeply involved. McKinsey, for instance, really emphasizes how AI-driven automation speeds up time to market. They see it impacting everything from performance testing to analyzing user feedback faster. It's about delivering value sooner.
And Deloitte, what's their aim?
Deloitte talks about AI reducing coding effort, finding bugs earlier, and automating a big chunk of test generation. They've even built something called the Deloitte Digital Tester, an AI solution that aims to handle interpreting requirements, creating tests, running them, logging defects, The whole cycle. And they stress testing for Gen AI software is becoming crucial too.
Okay, so they're building tools. What about BCG and Accenture?
BCG frames AI more as empowering human testers, freeing them up for strategic thinking. They see huge growth potential in AI-enabled testing services. Accenture highlights their AI-infused codeless automation platforms and reports real productivity gains from using Gen AI across the software development lifecycle, including testing.
So the consultants are definitely bullish on AI. What about the big IT services companies, the ones actually doing a lot of the testing work globally? Infosys, TCS, Wipro.
They're all actively developing and deploying AI testing solutions. Infosys has an AI-first testing strategy, focusing on early defect detection and optimizing which tests to run. They even have a specific generative AI testing platform.
And TTS.
TCS points to Gen AI accelerating the entire engineering process. They mentioned using it in the automotive industry to generate test cases from vague requirements, actually doubling the speed. They've also got an AI assurance framework in place.
Doubling speed, wow. What about Wipro, Capgemini, Cognizant?
Wipro is using Gen AI for things like creating realistic fake data for testing, modernizing old test suites, and improving user experience testing, all with an automation-first mindset. Capgemini reports seeing clear productivity boosts from Gen AI in their software projects, including testing, and they're pushing AI-assisted coding. And Cognizant has their FlowSource platform, which integrates AI copilots and templates directly into the development workflow for tasks like quality checks and test case creation.
It's amazing how deeply embedded this is becoming in their services. Now, what about the companies building the actual software products we use every day? Microsoft, Google, Meta, Salesforce, Atlassian.
They're all investing heavily, both for their own internal testing and in the tools they offer. Microsoft is researching AI for generating tests for languages like C# and Java, and their Azure AI services can be used for anomaly detection and testing. Plus, GitHub Copilot can potentially help developers write unit tests.
Google and Meta.
Google has Gemini Code Assist, Vertex AI for training custom models, and even a tool called Quadomator that can apparently generate mobile test scripts just by watching a video of someone using the app. Meta developed a tool using LLMs for generating fault scenarios and tests automatically, called Automated Compliance Hardening, and another one, TestGen LLM, to improve existing tests.
Interesting. Salesforce and Atlassian.
Salesforce has Agentforce, specifically for testing AI agents, and their Einstein for developers assists with code and test generation. Atlassian is baking AI features right into Jira and Confluence, things like suggesting test cases, smarter defect analysis, and they're integrating with established test management tools like Tricentis.
So it's really across the board, consultants, service providers, product companies, everyone's investing. What about academia? Are universities and researchers validating this trend?
Definitely. You see dedicated conferences like EASY's A-Test and journals like IE Software and ACM's TOSUM regularly publish research on AI in testing things like AI-assisted test case generation, defect prediction, optimizing test execution. Major universities like MIT with its Generative AI Impact Consortium and Stanford with its AI labs are researching how to make AI more reliable and accurate, which directly feeds into testing needs.
And just quickly, what's the vibe on social media? LinkedIn, Reddit?
It mirrors a lot of this. On LinkedIn and Twitter X, you see lots of posts about AI boosting efficiency, automating routine tasks, but always with the caveat that testers need to adapt and learn new skills. The dominant sentiment seems to be augmentation, not replacement.
Hmm.
Reddit has more diverse opinions, naturally. Some threads show anxiety about jobs, but many others are optimistic, focusing on AI taking away the boring parts. And platforms like Medium are full of articles discussing practical applications, like AI for test validation or the shift towards predictive testing, but again, usually emphasizing that human oversight remains key.
Okay, so the consensus seems strong, but talk is one thing of question. Can you give us some really concrete, real-world examples of companies actually using this stuff right now?
Sure. We mentioned McKinsey helping clients adopt Gen AI. They're seeing real productivity improvements in testing departments. Deloitte's digital tester isn't just theoretical, it's being used to automate testing processes for clients.
Right.
Infosys's AI-first approach has reportedly helped clients reduce redundant tests. TCS, with that automotive example, really did double-test case generation speed using Gen AI. Wipro claims their Gen AI quality engineering has automated over 35 different testing use cases. Capgemini is citing tangible productivity gains. And Cognizant's FlowSource is actively integrating Gen AI into client software development cycles.
Okay, those are the service providers. What about the product companies using it internally?
Yep. Microsoft uses AI internally to predict which parts of their code are most likely to contain bugs, so they can focus testing there. Google's Quadometer is being used for automating mobile app testing. Meta's ACH tool is actively improving the reliability of their systems. Salesforce uses Agentforce to test its own AI agents, and Atlassian users are starting to leverage the AI features built into Jira for test generation.
And there are specialized testing tool companies jumping in too.
Absolutely. Companies purely focused on testing are heavily incorporating AI. Testlio reported using Gen AI cut down errors and sped up test refactoring. Functionize lets you write tests in plain English, and AI figures out how to run them. Testum's self-healing tests powered by AI are a major selling point. It's really widespread now.
This all sounds incredibly positive, almost too good to be true sometimes. How do we actually measure the difference AI is making? Are there numbers, metrics?
There are, and they are pretty eye-opening. First, the market itself is booming. Forecasts predict the AI-enabled testing market will grow from around, say, $700 million in 2023 to potentially close to $2.8 billion by 2030. That's a huge growth trajectory.
Wow, okay. Big market growth. But what about the direct impact on testing tasks?
That's where we see some compelling figures being reported. Things like up to a 50% reduction in the time it takes to create test cases. That's massive.
50%.
Yeah. And test execution time reductions are also significant, sometimes up to 40%. And because AI helps with that self-healing and smarter execution we talked about, test maintenance effort can drop by maybe 30% or so.
Which all adds up to.
Significant cost savings. Some estimates suggest potential savings of up to 60% on overall testing costs, depending on the implementation, of course.
And it's not just faster and cheaper, presumably. Is it actually better testing?
That's the claim, and there's evidence for it. AI's ability to analyze data and spot patterns means it can often find defects that traditional methods might miss. Some studies suggest significantly improved defect detection rates.
So, looking ahead, what are the big trends? Where is this going next?
We'll likely see more movement towards truly autonomous testing, where AI handles even more of the end-to-end process with less human intervention. Predictive analytics will probably get even better, telling us where bugs are likely to appear before they're even written. AI's role in non-functional testing security, usability, performance will likely keep growing. And you hear analysts like Gartner predicting things like agentic AI becoming common in enterprise software by 2028. That means AI tools that can act more independently to achieve testing goals.
Okay, so wrapping up the implications, let's quickly recap for everyone involved.
Yeah.
For software testers again.
The message is really evolve, don't panic. Your role shifts towards strategy, oversight, and the uniquely human skills. You'll need to learn about AI, data, maybe prompt engineering, but exploratory testing, usability, critical thinking, still vital.
And for developers.
They get faster feedback, hopefully catch bugs earlier. AI might even help them write better code and unit tests in the first place. It's about improving their workflow, too.
QA managers.
They become leaders in this transition. They need to guide their teams, help them upskill, choose the right AI tools, and find that sweet spot balancing AI efficiency with human insight.
And finally, CTOs, project leaders.
For them, it's a big opportunity. Faster releases, better quality, potentially lower costs. But it requires strategic thinking about how and where to implement AI effectively in their QA process.
Okay, for anyone listening who might still feel a bit intimidated by all the tech talk, let's bring it back to that analogy you used earlier, the super smart assistant.
Right. Just think of AI and testing like that. It's this incredibly capable helper that takes care of a lot of the repetitive, time-consuming legwork.
This frees up the human experts, the testers, to focus on the really important, complex stuff. Is this software actually easy to use? Does it solve the user's real problem? Is it reliable under weird conditions? It's about partnership, making the whole process smarter and faster.
Leading to better software for all of us in the end.
That's the ultimate goal, yeah.
So for testers listening right now, wanting to make sure they thrive in this new landscape, what are the concrete, actionable things they should be doing, like starting tomorrow?
Okay, number one, without a doubt, is embrace continuous learning. Be curious. Actively seek out information. Read blogs, follow experts, attend webinars, maybe take some online courses on AI fundamentals and AI in testing.
Get educated. Makes sense. What specific skills?
Focus on understanding how to test AI systems themselves. Think about data quality, bias detection, fairness. Get comfortable with AI testing tools and methodologies. Don't forget core automation skills, but learn how AI enhances them, things like self-healing tests.
And the human skills. Double down on them. Exploratory testing, critical thinking, user empathy. These are your superpowers where AI is weaker. Sharpen those skills. Also, get better at data analysis. AI generates a lot of data. You need to be able to interpret it to make smart testing decisions.
What about interacting with the AI?
Learn about prompt engineering. Knowing how to ask the AI the right questions to get useful test cases or insights is becoming a valuable skill. And always keep the ethical considerations in mind: fairness, bias, privacy in AI testing.
So learn AI, sharpen human skills, understand data. Anything else?
Yeah, learn to collaborate with AI, understand its strengths, its weaknesses, and adapt how you test. Maybe specialize, become the go-to person for testing chatbots or computer vision systems. And finally, network. Talk to other testers, share knowledge, stay plugged into what's happening. It's evolving fast.
It really sounds like the core message is adaptation and augmentation. AI isn't the enemy. It's a tool, potentially a very powerful one.
Exactly. It's an evolution for the field. If embraced properly, it can make testing more effective, more comprehensive, and honestly, probably more interesting by automating the drudgery. It amplifies what humans can do.
Better, faster, more reliable software.
Uh,
That's the promise.
that's the promise, yes. And it hinges on testers being willing to learn and adapt along the way.
Well, that feels like a good place to wrap up our deep dive today. The big takeaway seems clear. AI is fundamentally changing software testing, but it looks much more like a transformation, an augmentation, rather than an outright replacement.
Absolutely. It's making the field more efficient, potentially more thorough, and it really highlights the enduring value of human insight alongside powerful automation. The key, as we've said, is that commitment to continuous learning and adaptation.
So a final thought for everyone listening,
Yeah.
as you go back to your work, or just think about this, where could AI start making a difference for you? What's one area in your testing process, or just in software you use, where a smart AI assistant could provide the biggest boost?
Yeah, it's about personalizing it. How can these tools specifically help you build better software or have a better experience? Thinking about that is a great next step.
Thank you so much for joining us on this exploration of AI's impact on software testing. We really hope it gave you some valuable perspectives and maybe some concrete ideas.
And we definitely encourage you to keep exploring. Check out some of the resources and companies we mentioned, and continue your own learning journey in this incredibly dynamic space.